Thank you, Melissa.
From gas to batteries now, Elon Musk and Tesla sending shockwaves down Wall Street today. The car maker hitting all-time highs after announcing plans to build the world's largest battery factory with a partnership with Panasonic. Not everyone's a believer in the battery-powered engine that could. It's time for another Wall Street throwdown. Jeff Reeves of InvestorPlace.com is a Tesla bull, and MaxFund.com's Jonas Max Ferris thinks there are bumpy roads ahead. He's also a Fox News contributor. Jeff, make the bull case right now for me.
Well, you know, short term, I think Tesla is basically trading on charts and sentiment, so I'm not going to speculate about the next 6 weeks. But I think long term, Tesla is definitely where it needs to be. I mean, we've seen this with a lot of innovative companies where they basically become their brand. Electric vehicles are Tesla. And I think that what the Prius did, I mean, the Prius was the best-selling car in California. It's one of the best-selling cars in the world right now. It kind of made a lot of strides on the hybrid front, and it hasn't lost that brand. I think if Tesla does this right, it has a huge runway ahead of it. It just has its bottleneck on production.
Jonas,
that's great for
investors. It has a bottleneck on production. And Jonas, I mean, one of the knocks against it has been how can they possibly create batteries fast enough to keep up with demand? Well, they're solving that problem. I mean, Elon's so smart. He goes out and he's like, well, you know what? I'm going to build my own battery factory so that I don't have a problem. Why do you not like this, Jonas?
It sounds like Henry Ford when he put rubber plants in Brazil because he couldn't get rubber fast enough. Look, the guy's a genius. He's a Henry Ford of our generation. I love Teslas. I'd like to own one. But this stock is a problem now. It trades as if they're selling 1 million cars. And yeah, you can fantasize about it being the world distributed power company with this factory and going into other things like some companies that were overpriced like Amazon and Apple did and took over those markets. But the reality is it's a car company that sold 22,000 cars roughly last year.
Yeah.
They have to grow sales 50% a year, which is their expectation this year from Elon Musk, for a decade or more just to catch up to like BMW or other car companies that they're already trading at a third of the market value of. So if they're absolutely perfectly flawless in this execution and everybody's got a Tesla, it's the #1 car, they're then only going to be worth a little more than they're worth today.
No,
so,
it is pretty crazy.
Go bad.
I mean, Jeff, the stock is just so incredibly expensive. If you look at the forward PE, I mean, it's trading at almost 70. You look at something like GM's trading at 7. Coke 16, Google 20, BMW 10. Why is Tesla worth almost 70 times its forward PE?
Well, I mean, I think you're looking at Coke is probably the wrong metric there for forward PE.
Okay, how about
better
GM? How about BMW? How about Google? Google's a tech
different
company.
car company. I'd posit that it's much better for you to look at a company like LinkedIn or Netflix or Amazon, companies that have had huge forward PEs for a while and yet have had big run-ups in the last year or two. I mean, the valuation argument is an old one, and I think that it's very important to remember that in 2013 the valuation bears it didn't play out that way. Because right now there's just not a lot of growth options, and investors are willing to pay a premium for growth in a company like this.
Okay, there's not a lot of growth options. It's not a good enough reason to pay a ridiculous price. It's an old argument, but it's kind of like how Amazon played out. If you recall, Amazon got really expensive in the late 90s on promise of the future. The stock still fell 90% before years later it caught up to that old price, and it actually delivered on the promise. It got out. It wasn't just books. It became this whole thing where they took over the world, and that might be Tesla's future in 10 or 15 years. But you're paying that price today, where you might see the stock fall 80% over the next 10 years before it realizes those dreams way down the road.
We got to go. Next time, you guys got to get our referee involved. I don't know. Thanks so much.